Writing a great thesis statement. So how do you get started? First thing you need to do is think about your audience. Other than your instructor and your classmates, who would benefit from reading your paper? Once you've thought about this, you've made a good start to anticipating questions that your paper will answer. You also need to think about the purpose of your paper. This is closely linked to your assignment instructions or even your writing prompt. Look for words like compare and contrast, describe, argue, determine, evaluate. Those verbs help you determine how you're going to develop your paper. There are two types of thesis statements. One is with points and one is without. Here's an example of a thesis statement with points. Text messaging is perfect for short messages because it's quieter, faster, and less distracting than a phone call. Each one of these items in this series, quieter, faster, and less distracting, are points that your writer is going to compare texting versus phone calls. Sometimes you'll find that writing a thesis statement without points is better. For example, generally, year-round school is beneficial for everyone. A thesis with points forces you to plan your essay carefully because you have to make sure that you list the items that you're going to discuss. The points give the impression that your paper is organized, and it adds clarity to work, so it functions like a roadmap for the development of your essay. You'll talk about this point, then this point, and then this point. Also tends to keep you on track, functioning like a mini outline. So many people find a thesis with points is a natural segue after pre-writing. Sometimes a thesis without points is a better idea because it allows you to state your main idea more concisely. It works well if the points are long and cumbersome or they're difficult to write in parallel structure. It allows variety between your thesis statement and your topic sentences. It's often considered a more advanced technique. Your thesis statement cannot be too broad or too narrow. Like Goldilocks, it must be just right. Avoid ideas that are too broad. If you take a moment and look at this picture of the wide open sea, you can't tell what's before you or behind you or on either side. You don't know where land is. You don't even know if you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. Imagine that you are a little boat in this vast sea. If your thesis statement is too broad, that's how you make your reader feel. Because ideas that are too broad are too hard to develop into either a single paragraph or a section of a few paragraphs. They're often vague because the writer has not considered exactly what will go in the paragraph. There's also a problem if your ideas are too narrow. Look at this picture. Here we have a narrow channel of water between buildings. This would be hard to navigate for a boater. Ideas that are too narrow will not have enough meat for an entire paragraph. When an idea is too narrow, it can't be developed much beyond a topic sentence, and very rarely can you get several sentences out of it. So sometimes narrow ideas can be added to other paragraphs as support for other ideas.